I tried to warn y'all that getting Harden was only going to cause more issues for the Clippers, and I said that if I was proven right or wrong, either way, I would make a video on it. And I'm keeping my promise now that the Clippers have lost in the first round. Now people are going to use the excuse that they weren't healthy, but therein lies my exact problem. We have never seen a proper Clippers team play in the postseason. Also, funnily enough, most people tried to tell me that even if somebody got injured, the Clippers could still make the conference finals with Harden. Well, I know practically every basketball YouTuber has made a video on the Clippers already, but of course, I want to give my take, especially after the receipts I have. So let's go through the problems with each player and discuss why this team failed as a whole across the board. Do I even need to say it? If Kawhi is healthy, we win the finals. Okay, so when exactly is that going to be? I remember when he first left for the Clippers, and people joked that he was going to get championship rings like the Infinity Stones, having already won one with the Toronto Raptors and the Spurs. Yeah, take that in. The last time Kawhi was actually healthy, Spider-Man Far From Home hadn't even come out yet. There was such high hopes for him, with New Balance saying LA is his city, and he's gonna reign over it, and even tried to cop the Crown of LA branding from LeBron. But it's been 5 years of Kawhi in LA, and the furthest they've got was the conference finals, only winning 2 games against the Suns. I made the joke before that Clippers fans are the Cowboy fans of the NBA, repeatedly saying, "This is our year," and getting overly excited when they have a postseason win. Now I'm a Spurs fan, so you don't have to tell me how dominant he is when he's healthy. Hell, I even cheered for him during the Raptors chip. When he was playing, he averaged almost 24 points with 1.6 steals, almost a block, and over 6 rebounds a game with 3.1 assists. Those are some really good numbers for both offense and defense, and he's been known for that, playing both ends of the court. But in his latest game against the Mavs, where he wasn't healthy but still decided to play, he only had 9 points, 4 turnovers, and a -4 plus-minus. The question is, how many more chances are the Clippers going to give him? He already signed a 3-year extension after the 9-game win streak they had during the regular season, so he's locked down regardless. But what do the Clippers need to do better? Better athletic trainers, more load management despite the controversy around it? If the Clippers really want to see success, again, to point out the obvious, they need Kawhi healthy. The question is, how? They also need to make him care, as it seems Kawhi doesn't really care about being injured. Every year, he gets paid to be injured and basically ride the bench all season, and when asked about it, he gives the typical robotic response in Kawhi fashion.
God's willing, man. We came out, competed all night long. We never gave up. The fans were great tonight. Shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing.
Now, to do a 180, I actually want to give some positives to the team. Russell Westbrook, I will give a lot of credit. He was able to take a step back and come off the bench, a thing that a lot of players nowadays would throw a fit about. Now, a lot of people are going to hate on this, but Russell Westbrook's biggest problem is he's the one with the most heart on the team. That normally is a massive positive, which again is why I want to give him some credit, but it is also his weakness and the kryptonite for the team. Now obviously Kawhi and Paul George are the most popular and the focus of the team, so some of you are probably confused as to why I say he's the heart of the team. But there's a difference between being the most popular and the core of the team and actually having the energy and wanting to win to be the heart. Harden didn't care, which I'll discuss later. Kawhi and Paul George also didn't seem to care in some interviews, but Russ fights for wins. He wants to be a leader. Don't believe me? He said so himself. When the Clippers were losing 10 of 18 games after the All-Star game, he had this to say: "You don't point fingers, you don't point blame. That's how I lead. We got to look within ourselves and figure out how we can better help our team. And I think that's where we start. We start with ourselves. I start with myself. And then we come together collectively. When we've done it the right way, it shows we're a hard team to stop. Ultimately, as a leader, it's my job just to hold guys accountable, hold myself accountable, and make sure that we stay together through this tough little patch that we're having. And when the Clippers do well, you can feel the energy and the momentum coming off of Westbrook. He started a game against the Suns going on a 35-4 run to lead to his 199th triple-double. And he just keeps giving that energy, giving alley-oops and threes as a sixth man. The only downside is, with him being a catalyst for the team's energy, when he's performing bad or acting unhappy, the whole team is performing bad or acting unhappy. So when things like this happen...
Previous play is under review for the hustle act after the whistle.
Let's see if I don't know what he's upset about there. That's an obvious foul call on him.
They might call that last one a punch.
Oh, unequivocally, Mike.
See, that's not a basketball play. There's no need to do that. There's the shove there. Then Washington shoves him, and kind of a jab there from Westbrook.
So Westbrook already has a flagrant one.
The contact by Westbrook to Doncic is a technical foul. The contact by Westbrook to Washington is a technical foul. The contact by Washington to Westbrook is a technical foul. Washington and Westbrook are ejected from the game. Dallas will shoot one free throw and get the ball out of bounds. 14 on the shot clock.
Officials, you can get thrown out on one technical if it's egregious, but both of those are out because of the two technicals. PJ Washington runs off the cheers.
It's only going to make things go further downhill. With that being said, Russ coming off the bench and being a leader for the team is actually one of the things that I will give the Clippers and Russ massive credit for and a massive positive. As long as Russ can harness that and not let other people get in his head, because he controls the direction the team goes.
Welcome back to another episode of Podcast P, presented to you by Prize Picks.
Paul George is victim to the same thing Chris Middleton is. He can go off and act like prime MJ. The next game, he plays like a G League player. He's 34 years old, and it seems like it's starting to get to him. Again, there are nights he pops off, and other nights he seems like he should stay on the bench, missing contested shots and fumbling the ball. He doesn't seem like a second option for the Clippers anymore. But the problem is, even if he's the third option, that leaves Harden as a second option, who I have even more issues with. The other problem comes with the fact that this team was built around Paul George and Kawhi. If Paul George starts looking to leave, this breeds unconfidence in the rest of the team, and they may start looking for the door just like him. After their Game 5 loss, Paul George gave a response that again seems like he just didn't care about winning, and the NBA on TNT team ripped into it.
I think the beauty of it is the older I've gotten, the less pressure it's been, honestly. You work your tail off all summer, you train for these moments, to where if you fail, you fail. Live with the results.
Nope. I ain't going with that.
I'm with you, Shaq.
If you fail, you can't fail. The way Philly played, even though they failed, if you play hard and play with a lot of effort, that's not a failure. Like, you played hard, but if you go out there and go and get 15 points when you're 2 for 15, nah, I ain't living with that. Nah, that's not failing. That's worse than failing. That's not stepping up when you're supposed to be the superstar of the team.
I always tell people, you can lose, but you got to compete.
Got to compete.
Yeah, you got to compete. I mean, I listen, I don't judge.
I lost a lot, but I competed.
But I can honestly say, and I'm not get off my lawn. I ain't never quit. I'm not saying he quit. I'm not saying he quit, but I can say I can look myself in the mirror and say I ain't never quit on one of my teams.
But Ernie,
and I've lost, but I ain't never quit.
When you're that guy, you get all the money, you get all the praise, you are expected to step up, and you should expect from yourself, I'm going to step up. In the closeout game, bring it to me, follow me. I'm going to do what I got to do. Kenny, when I kick it out, I'm going to need you to get yourself going.
Even the comments said that it looks like he only cares about getting paid, but he hasn't even signed an extension yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. In an interview after the series loss, the comments only continued to point this out. And on a podcast later, he wore a Kobe shirt, and again the comments ripped into him about his audacity to wear a Mamba mentality shirt when claiming that he didn't care that he lost.
About the contact, Harden just lost the bat. Oh, and then put it into his own chin as he slammed the ball to the ground. It came up, and that was he's seeing the team dentist at halftime. Right. That was not comfortable for James.
Harden. I have many things to say about you. Again, the first Clippers video was dedicated all about you. A lot of stuff I've already discussed in that video, and I made it all the way back in December predicting this outcome, but a lot of people didn't want to listen. So I'm going to summarize some of my takes from there and how they came true, as well as some of the comments left and how they turned out to be wrong as I predicted. One of the first things I predicted is that either him or Russ will have to take a step back. After the trade, it didn't take long for the Clippers to go on a 6-game losing streak. In the first game of the streak, the entire group of starters was negative and plus minus, with Harden -7 and Westbrook -18, both tying for only 17 points. The next game, Russ was -5, going for only 6 for 18 and 1 for 5 from 3, while Harden was a -15 and 2 for 5. The game after that, Harden was -6 and Russell Westbrook was a staggering -26. And it only continued as Harden went -28 the next game that they both started. The last game in the losing streak, the plus minus wasn't that bad, with Harden still a -3, but Russ positive. But Russ only shot 4 for 12 with 8 points, and Harden went for over 20. Then, on November 16th, Lou said Russ met with him to be benched, and shortly after, they went on a 9-game win streak, which is when many jumped in the delusion that they were contenders. But I wasn't fooled. Harden does this a lot when going to a new team. Again, I made the comparison to the Nets. The Nets went on an 8-game winning streak in 2021 with Harden, and we saw how that went. And I don't want to hear anything about KD's foot. With the 76ers, they went on a 7-game win streak in 2022, and 2 8-game win streaks in 2023. Harden seems to hypnotize people into thinking he's going to perform in the playoffs, but he never does. Again, I predicted this. This is his 4th team in the past 4 years. Who's to say he's not going to try and join the Lakers or another team like next year? It's going to be the same thing as the Nets. I'm calling it now. Everybody was like, oh, KD, Kyrie, Harden, it's over for the league. And people like try to do the same thing now where they're like, oh, we got Westbrook, we got Harden, we got Kawhi, we got Paul George. Oh, we got like a super stacked team. And how many games have Paul George and Kawhi played together? It's going to be the same exact thing with the Nets where at least one of them is injured like every game and they're not going to play together.
Oh, no, 20 points and 10 assists sounds pretty good for me, bro.
But at what cost though? Like
that's what I'm saying. At what cost?
You get to the playoffs and he has one good game in the playoffs. Every other place James Harden went, he got what he asked for. He went to the Rockets, right?
Exactly.
He got Dwight Howard. He ended up getting CP3. He ended up getting Russell Westbrook. That didn't work. He goes to the Nets. He has Kevin Durant. He has Kyrie. That lasts all of one season.
If the Clippers win the finals, I'm gonna go get me a Harden jersey. I got to do something because I've been talking shit about the Clippers.
They're not making it past the second round. I've said it before. I've said it multiple times before. Again, I said it in that video and people disliked it. I've stand behind that statement. Clippers are not making it past the second round.
Crazy. All right, man. We'll see, bro. Back to Pat.
I agree with that. Fuck the fucking Clippers, bro. They ain't gonna do shit.
Clippers not making it past the Thunder, the Wolves, or the Nuggets. Anybody else they could be.
Or the Lakers. They're not beating the Lakers.
Anybody else they could be. I did not stutter.
Sleeping on more than the Wolves. The Wolves ceiling.
When have we ever seen the Clippers ceiling? Why do you do this every year? You did the same thing last year with the Clippers.
I just got back in the conversation, but yeah, the Clippers ceiling is never happening, and that's my main point.
We always say that about the Clippers. This is the Ravens all over again. I told you, bro. Lamar is not him. He's going to choke. No, he's not. He's from Florida. Broward gang. No, he sucks.
I bet you at least one person on the Clippers gets injured this year. That's my point.
Kawhi and one of them to stay healthy.
Yeah, but it's not gonna happen. Because again, you say that every season. Either Kawhi's injured or somebody else is injured.
Jameson?
You could have Paul George gone. They just have Kawhi and Harden. They could win the series.
It's not 2019 anymore, bro.
Yes.
Harden.
Yes.
It's not 20. Again, this is the point I make all the time. It's not 2019 Harden anymore. It's not 2019 Kawhi anymore. In the Milwaukee series that everyone will complain about KD's foot, he had a game where he only had 5 points in 46 minutes, shooting 1 of 10. In 2022, against the Raptors in the playoffs, he shot 5 of 17 one game. In 2023, he shot 3 for 13 one game, only scoring 8 points. And then another game where he shot 4 for 18. Another game, 2 for 14 and 0 for 6 from 3. And the game right after, 3 for 14, then 4 for 16 and 0 for 3 and 0 for 6 from 3 again. And in his last game as a 76er, 3 for 11. Then, as a Clipper, in Game 5 and 6, he shot 2 for 12 from field goal and 1 for 7 from 3, and then 5 for 16 and 0 for 5 from 3. Despite this, people still tried to tell me that the Clippers would have gone on a 10-game win streak, which never happened, and make the Western Conference Finals even if a Kawhi injury happened, with Harden carrying them. Yeah, right. This isn't Rockets' James Harden anymore. Embiid even said that himself all the way back when he was on the 76ers. When will people finally start to realize that Harden simply doesn't show up in the playoffs anymore? Not to mention, he doesn't care about his teams either. He's just a bag and ring chaser. I'm not going to outright say that Harden will leave, but I stated in my December video that it really would not surprise me. When the Clippers lose, Harden is visibly angry, even though most of it is his fault.
I reported today that the franchise is looking to sign you to a long-term extension. Do you expect to be here long-term?
I hope so. I hope so.
A huge problem for this team is it's hard for them to get momentum. I talked a lot about that when we dived into Russell Westbrook, but this team is really lackadaisical, which again is only worse when you have a guy who jumps team to team like a game of musical chairs, trying to find the seat that keeps him in the game the most. As well as Paul George looking for the door and Kawhi becoming complacent at sitting on the bench. Something needs to give the team spirit and actually motivate them to win and get momentum. Another big problem is depth. Back in 2019 to 2020, even with the uncertainty of the bubble, the Clippers were up 3-1 against the Nuggets and had one of the deepest rosters, which was seen as a massive strength to help them get to the finals, even against a LeBron matchup to come the next round. But when your coach is Doc Rivers, being up 3-1 may as well be down 3-0, because there's a good chance that Glenn Rivers will find a way to blow it like he has so many times before. But that's besides the point. After losing this season, it seems the front office kind of panicked for whatever reason. Instead of hiring another coach and running it back with a similar roster, they decided that they were going to spend the next few seasons getting players like Russ, PJ Tucker, Eric Bledsoe, and 3 other players that averaged less than 5 points a game. And of course, Harden. This also makes them the oldest team in the league, which is not an achievement you want to have. We saw how well that went with the Lakers a while back, and as we discussed with Paul George, the age is starting to get to the players. Now, people are finally turning on the Clippers and telling them to blow it up. The problem is, they really can't. I'm not the first to make this statement, but when you spend $2 billion on a stadium, you need stars to sell the tickets. But how well is your star going to sell tickets if they're sitting on the bench? They also have 0 assets. They're in a similar spot as the Suns right now. As we stated, they gave away all their picks, and Kawhi is locked down for 3 more years. There is no blow up and rebuild unless they can trade away these players for more picks again. All of this is happening while other teams are starting to get better. So not only are they going to be first round exits for years to come, they could drop to a play-in team or even out of the playoffs in 3 to 4 years' time, with all of these other teams in the West progressing. The Spurs have Wembanyama, Jazz want to get more stars, as do the Rockets. The Grizzlies were just injured this year, Sabonis and Fox continue to get better each year, and then you have teams that already beat them, such as the Nuggets, Timberwolves, Mavs, and Thunder. For 2027, we could have Warriors, Trailblazers, Pelicans, and Clippers all being the teams that don't make the play-in. The coach even said so himself. So, there are many things that this Clippers team really needs to fix. The problem is, which do we fix first, and how do we fix them? Because there are disasters and cracks in this foundation all around. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you all again so much for the support. If you want more videos like this or more content like this and want to stay in contact with me, there's an Instagram and Discord link in the description. Be sure to join and follow those. Thank you again for the support, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.